Great. Okay. So thanks, everyone. Great to be here again. We'll be presenting you today about NetApp's artificial intelligence suite of solutions. My name is Richard Biggs. I'm the artificial intelligence leader for Asia Pacific and are responsible for all opportunities and customers related to AI workloads in the region, working with our partners and our local teams to bring the right set of services and tools into the hands of our customers. As you obviously may be aware, NetApp is a legacy company founded many years ago, offering a wide range of on-premise and cloud-based storage services. And so some of the time we'll spend today will be looking at that transformation, which Alan was actually mentioning just now in his presentation of how customers are trying to navigate this very complex hybrid world that they now exist in from an IT perspective, trying to manage multiple different solutions, workloads, and cloud partners and vendors. And so what we're trying to do with NetApp is to make their lives as easy as possible, and particularly in the area that I'm looking after is provide them with those next generation solutions from an AI standpoint for the most intensive workloads that can be looked after. Obviously, we are first-party partners with all of the major cloud providers. We also are a major alliance partner with NVIDIA. So today, specifically as we're talking about AI, I'll be looking at that relationship with NVIDIA, some of the offerings that we deliver with them, and also into some of the cloud environments as well. As mentioned, we have this world which is really much more complex than just on-premise or a cloud. You really have customers that are sitting across sort of a spectrum here. And so really, particularly for AI workloads, we see that there is this movement of data that needs to happen from on-premise to cloud, back and forth, depending on the type of workload, whether it's training, whether it's inference, etc. And so therefore having a system in place, having a storage layer in place that enables you to manage that back and forth in a cost-effective, in a secure, and in a high-performance manner is really what NetApp is looking to provide with our solutions. So really, we see NetApp requiring a portfolio type approach. We would say that you need to ensure that there is both edge ability to bring in content from the edge, that there's then ability to drive high intensity training workloads at the core with the best in class in terms of performance, feeding very power hungry GPUs. And then of course you need to be sure that you can accelerate the analysis and the tiering and the other types of workloads that happen in the cloud. And this generally tends to be our view of how we should spread our services and our offerings across these three different environments. You'll see here a list of different services that NetApp offers, whether that is, for example, our Lenovo Edge inferencing solutions, whether that's our ONTAP AI reference architecture with NVIDIA, DGX, or whether that's our cloud volume services within AWS, within Google, Azure NetApp Files within Microsoft, and all of the other pieces we have to connect those back, including Cloud Sync, etc. So we do have that suite made available to provide that data fabric across all three of those different environments. Primarily for AI workloads, we tend to focus on our ONTAP solution. ONTAP is one of the premium file storage management systems available. It's been used worldwide for many, many years. It's been developed upon for many, many years and really brings best-in-class capabilities, particularly the ones that are relevant for data science workloads. So I'm talking about performance here, right? So you have to ensure, as I said before, that you feed the GPUs as quickly as possible with as much capability as possible. We also need to make sure that you have all of the right types of data protection in place, as oftentimes those training workloads may be using very sensitive data sets. You also need to ensure that you have really sophisticated data replication and migration capabilities. And again, those are things that are built into ONTAP. Our snapshot, our mirroring, our cloning technology is really best in class. You need to make sure that there is security for data in flight and data at rest. And you need to make sure that you can snapshot and version those data sets and those data sets are being used to train different models as well. So all of these features are very commonly used features within the ONTAP environment. And what we found in going out to market with this is actually AI practitioners, machine learning engineers, data scientists oftentimes are not aware that these capabilities exist within the storage layer. And so they're used to, requisitioning to their storage admin for a new environment, a new volume, asking for cloning or mirroring of data sets. With ONTAP, we actually lift up all of those capabilities, put them in the hands of the AI practitioner. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So in terms of our core offerings for ONTAP AI, we have a few. As I mentioned before, these are all primarily driven by our alliance with NVIDIA and work with NVIDIA GPUs, both DGX GPUs and OEM GPUs from all of the main GPU providers. ONTAP AI is our all-flash performance array, high-performance array that uses the DGX pod architecture. This goes from very small setup, one DGX and a small AFF, up to incredibly large setups. We have this road tested up to 76 DGX A100s, for example, with a client called Sberbank in Russia. And so the scalability of this environment is incredibly powerful and is used, for example, by cloud providers to provide multi-tenant cloud service environments and AI services to end customers. It's used by high performance research teams and everything in between as well. We also have our ONTAP AI integrated solution offering. This is a bundled approach where we actually bundle with a local SI partner a series of pre-configured sizings and configurations. The objective here is to reduce down the total cost of ownership for an on-premise dedicated training facility by giving you pre-configured, pre-set up, pre-tested, sort of t-shirt sizes, small, medium, large type configurations that are, really proven, very scalable, and give you the best value for money. We also have coming our DGX SuperPod configuration. We're currently being certified for that with NVIDIA. That should be launching in January of 2022. This, of course, is for those very high intensity HPC AI research training loads. And so that's something where, again, we're now, getting involved in that market as we see huge growth potential. And we're also the unique and exclusive partner for NVIDIA's Base Command Foundry platform. This is essentially offering the DGX training environment as a service through a subscription. In this case, partnered with Equinix. So Equinix as a colo will have a DGX pod architecture set up, and then through NVIDIA, powered by NetApp, customers can access that with a subscription model. This has been launched in North America and will be coming to APAC in 2022 as well. I'll very briefly touch on this. Obviously, we want to demonstrate here is that we have that range of offerings to suit all of those different types of AI workloads. And again, AI is a very all-encompassing term. So breaking it down, we're looking at training workloads for machine learning and deep learning. We're looking at HPC or machine learning accelerated analytics type workloads that requires GPUs but works on very large data sets. We're looking at, again, taking data directly from data lakes and putting those into accelerated training environments. And of course, inferencing which will be happening either on premise or in the cloud, and how are we supporting those with data services as well. And of course, underneath that is lined up all of the different NetApp services, both on premise and cloud and hybrid, that we are able to offer to support those. So for us, really, what we're trying to do here is shorten the time from concept to production. We're trying to provide, really good access to resources. Oftentimes, a lot of these AI training resources are very high intensity from a compute standpoint. They cost a lot of money, take a lot of effort. And so we want to make sure that they're being utilized correctly. We want to ensure that we're increasing the productivity for those data scientists, for those AI users. So this is the practitioner and operations component. And of course, we want to ensure that we give maximum transparency as to how these assets are being utilized and the value they're giving back to the business. To do that, we provide a solution called the Data Ops Toolkit. The Data Ops Toolkit is a really nice piece of open source software that we enable for all ONTAP users, so they can, as I said before, pull out some of those core ONTAP storage features into the environment where the data scientists, where the AI practitioners are used to operating, be that in their Python based environment, in their Jupyter notebooks. And this works across both traditional environments and containerized Kubernetes-based environments. And again, this is really, really powerful because it stops this sort of lengthy back and forth that practitioners may need to go into in order to get access to some of these core storage features, and instead provides them to them so they can rapidly provision those new volumes, they can clone data volumes, they can do a snapshot of a volume and know exactly which data set with which version was used to train a particular model outcome. And if you know anything about the model training lifecycle, that sort of snapshotting and versioning and training of model with different data sets goes on many, many times and can be very tricky to manage in terms of keeping track of what data set has been used to train which outcomes. So again, here, what we're trying to do is enable greater productivity for those AI practitioners in their native environments. As I mentioned before, we do have this integrated solution. So the integrated solution, again, is there to drive down that TCO and enable it to be easier for customers to invest in a dedicated training facility. As before, we're using our proven reference architecture with NVIDIA. It's enables simplified procurement. There's one bill of materials, one SKU, fixed price. So customers really know what they're getting and how it's going to work, and they have really validated performance, as well as one number to call in case something goes wrong. And oftentimes this is incredibly powerful compared to the DIY type approaches that oftentimes take place when people try to build together their own training environment, and you have a different piece of kit from a different vendor for each part of the solution, compute, network, storage. And there's no guarantees it's all going to work together nicely. So here we are providing that integrated solution offering with really strong guarantees from both NVIDIA and NetApp that everything is going to be well supported and highly performant. How that looks in practice is we have, like I said, a couple of sizes from your starter size using the smallest of IAFF series and a single DGX A100 up to your large size and beyond. That can scale out significantly, and of course all of the pieces bundled underneath that. If this is of any interest, please do contact our very friendly partners, and they will help you to establish what is available in your particular market, particular region. Obviously, it varies a little bit by market, but we strongly believe that for any customers who are doing significant amounts of AI training and see that AI training workload scaling, it's very worthwhile considering an on-premise solution over a mixed bag or DIY type approach. You should be having a very well-structured integrated solution offering to give you that maximum TCO, and also best-in-class software stack as well for your AI practitioners to ensure they have that productivity. This is, as I mentioned, just a quick snapshot of the DGX as a service solution with the base command platform. Again, here, like I said, this is something that we see as being one of the sort of new ways in which customers are beginning to purchase enterprise AI training systems. Rather than going and committing to a dedicated on-premise solution of their own, they're looking to either rent and subscribe in an OpEx model to a service that is sitting in a colo environment. We're obviously, like I said, the exclusive partner for this with NVIDIA in North America, and we're looking to bring this to APAC in the coming year. I do think this is a really worthwhile thing to take note of for any customers who are looking at making considerable investments in the future in their AI training workloads. We have a pretty significant partner network around us. So, whether I mentioned, of course, obviously the major hyperscalers, the colo partners, the software partners and ISVs. And so again, if you are on a journey where you're looking for, a neutral third party to provide some guidance to you on what are the right approaches for industrializing your ML ops? What are the right approaches for, exploring a particular AI use case? How does this fit into my current technical stack? These are the types of things that either we are capable of answering or one of our partners will be capable of answering. And so we are really open to receiving any and all inquiries as it pertains to accelerating enterprise AI adoption. I just want to quickly walk through a couple of case studies, just to give you a bit of flavor for the types of projects that NetApp is supporting. This is on the national research HPC type side, where we are the primary storage partner for the National Computational Infrastructure of Australia at Australia's National University. This is the largest supercomputer in Australia, all supported with NetApp's E-series storage solutions, super fast, super reliable storage, feeding these really, mission critical workloads for, national research across everything from fighting bushfires to, reducing climate change to, managing, all the variety of different research projects that a national infrastructure would be pursuing. In this case, we're looking at an opportunity with King's College London. Here we're supporting a national platform for the National Health Service. This is using, again, the ONTAP AI DGX pod and NVIDIA's Clara AI toolkit, which is a specific AI toolkit for the medical and life sciences domain. And here what we're doing is supporting the inspection of radiology and pathology scans using artificial intelligence. And so pairing artificial intelligence with professional radiographers, et cetera, to increase the speed at which images can be taken in, images can be assessed, and then potential diseases identified to give patients, life-saving service in a faster case. As I mentioned before, one of our largest deployments of ONTAP AI is with Sberbank. Sberbank is one of Russia's largest financial services institutions, and they wanted to build their own essentially private cloud from which they could offer AI services to their customers. This is a pretty sizable installation, as I mentioned before, around 75 DGXs, a very high amount of storage that then not only enabled the transformation of a huge amount of back-end services for the bank itself, but the delivery of AI services such as computer vision, natural language processing, et cetera, to the bank's customers. And in essence, building a new business and new revenue stream for the bank, providing these cloud services to customers. Lastly, I want to reference a customer in Japan. CyberAgent is a media and advertising technology giant. Here we support CyberAgent's end-to-end AI training pipeline and production system. This essentially uses our NetApp Trident Kubernetes-based architecture to create that really end-to-end, data management, model deployment system, and enables them to deploy, train AI models at scale across the organization with many teams working across that environment, using the benefits of containerization, multi-tenancy, and all of those other ONTAP features to ensure that they're getting absolute maximum performance and most productivity out of their AI engineering teams as well. So how does it all come together? We're really about sort of, ensuring that we're improving that end-to-end pipeline. One of the big struggles that customers have is oftentimes trying to piece together all of these different pieces that are needed in an AI development pipeline. We obviously have many strong components that NetApp offers within that. Many of these components heavily integrated with NVIDIA's libraries and other open source libraries, enabling customers to create that really seamless end-to-end environment and get that greater performance. We have all of our native integrations with all of the cloud providers and a lot of our really useful tools and features, whether that be Cloud Sync, Snap Mirroring, et cetera, enabling us to effectively move data from cloud into on-prem environments and back and forth saving you money, increasing time performance and security. Obviously, through all of these pieces, improving return on investment, so ensuring that customers aren't having to deal with months of configuration issues, setup issues, and instead providing that integrated solution that's performant, highly effective, and thereby reducing that TCO, ensuring that the investment that you're making in this hardware, because it's not cheap hardware, and we know that, but those AI initiatives that are mission critical and that are due to deliver considerable business value to your company need to be done in the most cost-effective manner. And so you need to ensure the best performance and the best, most reliable usage of those assets. And again, that's what ONTAP AI is there to do. That's all I have for today's session. I'm happy to take any questions from the audience.